Elon Musk has a lot of interest in space. He also has a lot of interest in Tesla. Is it possible that maybe he done been, abducted by some aliens and now he got some technology? Because according to the...
Can we talk about alien abduction?
Yeah, like...
Okay.
Yo.
What up?
What's goody, co-workers?
What's good, co-workers? Welcome back to the We Outside After Work podcast. I'm your host, Dana.
And I'm your boy, Aaron. And here at the We Outside After Work podcast, we love to have the off-the-clock conversations for all of our wonderful, wonderful professionals out here.
I'm excited to be talking to you today, Aaron, because we haven't done a remote episode in about a month. So, guys, this month of February, we are remote. If you don't know, at this point, we alternate from in studio to remote just so that we can have a array of different guests. So,
and then during Black History Month, I don't really feel like going to work, so that's why we gonna be doing it remote. You feel me? Because we're gonna be chilling for Black History Month.
Yeah, we ain't going to work no more.
I mean, we still gonna go to work.
Just for the month of February.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Just joking. I'm definitely gonna be tuned into my laptops. We are going to do our check-in. We haven't had a Dolo episode in a while. We've had a bunch of amazing guests. So, Aaron, what is your check-in since the last time that we did one?
My biggest check-in is talking about Monique, but Dana told me not to. So
I didn't watch the interview yet.
I'm gonna hold the phone on that one, but I'm just checking in, just feeling good being off. Like, I've been working like crazy. Being in sales, it's like you never want to miss work because we start pocket watching a little bit when somebody be doing like big sales, and it's like, damn, I could have been there. That could have been my money. But other than that, I'm just really compartmentalizing, bringing everything back down to earth, focusing on being better tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Book is finished. Now I just got to work on that publishing, and we are good to go. How about you?
We have a drop date?
No, we don't.
Okay.
No, we don't. I gotta do some editing, so I just want to make sure that everything looks good, everything is sequenced right, and then we go from there.
Love that for you. Okay, so then my check-in, there's been a lot of good and bad things happening for me. So I do feel like in life, that is a balance that you just have to recognize and realize that it's always going to be a lot of things going on in general. So for me, recently, I have an announcement that I want to let you guys know about. I'll probably talk about it on the next episode, not this week, but next week. But someone I'm picking up tomorrow, and all I'm gonna say is a new member of the family. A new member of the family. So that's all you're getting.
Is it a junior?
It's a baby.
Okay, congratulations. You adopted?
Kidding. No, but yeah, I'll talk more in detail about it. Yeah, since we're talking about the good things. I don't really want to get into the negatives, but yeah, that's just for another day, I guess. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's just mentally balancing the ebbs and flows of life. So just dealing with emotions and trying to be as, I don't want to use the word strong, but being that support system. Disclaimer, I have a really bad cough. So excuse me if y'all hear that from time to time during the podcast. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. But I'm low-key sick. I'm drinking low-key because I don't feel sick, but I have like the congestion and the mucus. So I'm drinking a concoction right now. It looks clear.
Mm-hmm. It don't look clear.
Okay, yeah, it's like it's kind of like a dirty watercolor. To explain it for our listeners, so what's in here is red onion, garlic, ginger, honey, and lemon. So it is kind of sweet just to mask the taste of the onion and everything else in there. But this is supposed to work wonders for any type of mucus or cold or sickness you have. This is like the holistic way to heal a cold.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna need you to send me the recipe. I don't know if I'm necessarily gonna try it, but you know, it does sound like it's gonna help you. But I do want to get into your ebbs and your flows, because honestly, I've been in that same space, and it's like a gift and a curse, right? Because an ebb and a flow is all about balance. So as things start to dwindle down in life, it sucks. It does. It's like, damn, I don't want to deal with this. But on the other side of that is that positivity, is that flow where you're going to start going back up. Your trajectory is going to be back in balance. And it's all about perspective. If you don't recognize that eventually that good is going to come, and then eventually some bad is going to come, you're never going to live with the proper perspective. So, you know, take the bad right now. It is what it is. Yeah. You're going to be fine. We're going to make sure that you're fine, because that's what we do. We look out for each other. So,
and
you know, whatever you need.
That, co-host, definitely appreciate that.
Gotcha.
Just a point I do want to touch on is, yes, there's ebbs and flows, but for me, like you mentioned with the point of view, POV, for me, it's like I have to be that person to explain to another person that, hey, look, there are positive things happening at the same time. So because I am being that support system, it's hard, you know, like it can get hard for me, because it's like I don't know what to say, because I'm not trained in that department to give any type of, like, I don't really know how to handle this level of I don't want to say depression, but it kind of is. And it's not towards me. It's just towards a specific family member that I'm just assisting with in their mental health, trying to make sure they're okay. So I need to be that light for them at this moment. And it's just hard. And at the same time, I'm having something positive happen tomorrow. So it's like I have that to be excited for, but I don't want to seem too excited just because I'm dealing with their mental health.
Of course.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
I also think it's unfair for you to hold yourself to a standard of making somebody else's life better. Your job sometimes is to handle people as they are, right? I don't know if it's a moment of grief. I don't know if it's a moment of sadness. I don't know what it is, but everybody handles their things in their own process. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of the times what we do wrong is we try to advise people. Like, I'm not here to give you advice. I'm here to be there for you.
That's what I didn't want to do. Like, I didn't want to advise of like, you should be doing this and this, because sometimes people just want to vent, right? Like they just want to hear to listen to the things that they're dealing with, which I tend to be that. But then it gets to a point, but then it gets to a point where it's like, when is this, because it is emotional baggage, right? Like, when is it too much? And I can't just be like, okay, I don't want to talk about it anymore. So I'll try to reinforce the affirmations. So
yeah, and I'll give you a lot of credit, because you probably do know, because you super self-aware. But in case you weren't aware of it, like, we had a conversation at the last podcast, and you were telling everybody on the podcast, like, I was down, it was something up. And instead of you just jumping down my throat and making me get out of it, you allowed me to have my process. You allowed me to get whatever's off my chest. You didn't judge me. You might have shared an opinion, but it was more so based on you being a friend and not you just trying to force your opinion on me. And at the conclusion of that conversation, that's what it was. It's like, hey, do what you got to do. I'm here for you. Here's my suggestion. Take it if you need to, but I'm here for you. And I don't think enough friends do that. I think too many people try to force themselves into somebody else's feelings, and that's not fair. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty heavy for an intro, but this is real life stuff that we dealing with, you know.
Outside of the work, this is what we deal with.
Right.
You know? Shit, we deal with it inside of work.
Okay. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about the work stuff. That's a whole nother beast, but it's not as much of a issue like real life people, families, and like those types of relationships. So I am grateful for the people I have in my life, but there can be times where the baggage and the support system becomes too heavy.
Yeah, next week we'll likely talk about that after we do our little synopsis on what's to come.
We have somebody?
No. I don't think I could get somebody, but what are we talking about today, Dana? Because you got some interesting things on the agenda and I want to get
Yes.
into it.
First and foremost, though, shout out to PJ for the 10th.
I was going to say something, but I was going to say if she even noticed,
I was waiting. Yeah, I was definitely going to shout him out for sure. Yeah, he was on our episode in the beginning. I don't know which one. Don't give numbers because we don't even know. And I keep saying I'll link it, but I forget. But just search PJ as a guest and you'll see his episode. Yeah, but let's get into this week. So the first topic that we are going to touch on is the infamous Neuralink. Now, for those of you that don't know what it is, we are going to break it down for you. Okay, so the Neuralink is a company. So it is a neurotechnology company, and it was founded by Elon Musk. The device is implanted into your brain, allowing for direct communication between the brain and the computer for external devices. This technology is supposed to help healthcare, communications, and human-computer interactions by enabling individuals to control the device or receive sensory input directly through thought. So I saw that one person successfully got the Neuralink placed in his brain. Don't quote me on if it's a he or a her, but I think it's a he.
Definitely a transformer.
This was for, I believe he had some type of ailment where he was paraplegic or something, but nonetheless, he had this implanted successfully. I didn't see any updates as of if it was turned on and, you know, it did all these extraordinary things it was created to do. Now, with Elon Musk, like, he does have Tesla. He does now have Neuralink. He does have SpaceX. So for me, like, his brand is solely based on innovation, right? And the future and technology and just making us modernized. So for you, Aaron, because we like to get personal, okay? Like, all of these topics, we like to just make them more personal and get the thought conversation going. Now, for you, if there was an option, right, to get this placed in your brain, you didn't have any type of ailments in your body, but it was more so to be a guinea pig, okay? Is there a price for you? Because that's something we talked about in previous episodes. If everyone has a price, right, of what they would do. So this will be of what you would do. Would you do it, and would you have a price point?
I wouldn't do it because I can't guarantee control of myself. So if I have somebody else that have external control over me, then who knows what I would be responsible for, right? Who knows if somebody decides to encrypt my brain Neuralink and now I'm robbing banks, graping people. I don't want that possibility. You know, I don't want anybody to have control over me. It's a similar reason why I don't do drugs, right? I don't want to be outside of the control of my own body. It's hard enough when you like impair from alcohol or even weed or something like that, when it's like you lose that sense of control. I don't want that from somebody that I don't even know who's I don't even know who's controlling the handles. Like, who got my life in their hands? Nah, forget that. I'm good. I'm straight.
Yeah, and to piggyback off what you said, being controlled, apparently for this particular case, it is for healthcare purposes and to just give this person a better life. But like you said, with the person controlling it, I wonder, do you have direct control of like what your body does? And if so, is there any type of security on this type of technology? And what
does that be hacked?
Yeah, it's so many questions and so many things that can go wrong. I would say for me, what I initially thought about when I first heard about Neuralink is the self-driving cars. So that's like the main thing with Teslas is they have that self-driving steering wheel and you can program and it'll just drive itself. Now, they sell a self-driving kit that you can put on cars that have that automated where you could set like the speed and stuff like that. So they have a kit where you can actually install it into your car so you can have it to self-drive for you, like a Tesla. Now, one of my friends, he brought this. It was about $5,000, and he set it up in his car. Like, everything was correct. And this was sort of like a prototype, because these type of cars, so any car that doesn't come with this installed, it's like you're connecting it to a foreign object. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't made for this. Like, your car wasn't made to have this put in. Mm-hmm. So he set it up himself, right? And there were some glitches. Like, there were some glitches where, like, this machine he would set it, and as long as you had your eyes on the road, like, it would steer, it would follow the lanes, it would speed up or slow down. Like, you didn't have to touch the pedals or the steering wheel. So there were times where he had to, like, jerk the steering wheel and, like, get control of the car, because it kind of just, like, did a little random jerk and, you know, did what it wanted to do, which he was almost in accidents for. So when it comes to the Neuralink, this hasn't been around for that long. So it's like, you are going to be the prototype. You're going to be the guinea pig.
I'm not trying.
And yeah, whatever comes with it. But then it's like, if these people have such a really bad quality of life, and this is a possible chance to either have your eyes, like, see again if you're blind, or you know, you're paralyzed in your legs or your hands, now you can use them. So it's kind of like, well, what weighs out the bad?
For situations like that, like, I get it. Like, I would never try to tell somebody who can't walk, don't take the option to try to walk again, right? Because I know for me, if I can't see, if I can't hear, if I can't touch, like, those things would, you know, bother me. I would want to be able to experience those things, especially as someone who's done those things already. Mm-hmm. But it's just something about being absent of the controls. It's like, I don't know.
It's
like,
scary.
Like, even when you talked about the car, it's like, I don't have this problem if I'm in control. But because somebody else is in control, my life is in jeopardy. Like, anything could have happened.
Not to cut you off, but reasons why this particular person, I tell them, I'm like, if you're using this in your car, I'm not driving with you, because I don't trust it. Like, drive your own car. And he'll still do it and be like, try to, like, convince me that it works. Like, oh no, it's fine. Like, look, it's driving. I don't feel safe.
I just don't understand what's the point. Like, because if you still got to be awake, that's the biggest thing for me, is like, driving. The hardest part is staying awake versus, like, being able to drive. So if I have to be awake, what's the point of me not driving my own car?
Right.
So,
because now there's risk involved of, like, this shit can just crash and you just didn't have control. So,
what would you say your price was?
If I had a choice to have Neuralink, I would say the exact same thing as you, to be honest. Like, no, you won't. And not on some, like, we're agreeing, because we do disagree a lot. But just the thought of this, like I mentioned with that whole self-driving car thing, I don't want to, number one, feel like I have something in my brain, unless, again, I don't know how I will feel if, God forbid, I had any of these impairments. You know what I mean? But right now, like, let's say they were like, all right, let's get a group of 5 people who they just want to test it out, you know, because it's going to come down to that. Like, it's not going to just be for healthcare. Like, it's going to come down to a point where it's popular and they're seeing how maybe there's, like, some extra things to it. Like, you'll get, like, superhuman something, like vision or whatever. And people are like, oh yeah, I want that. And then, you know,
so I don't know. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm in my conspiracy theorist rabbit hole. But I don't know if you know too much about Tesla, Nikola Tesla, right? Who the Tesla cars are made of, right? So according to, like, ancient aliens and all those kind of things, all those kind of stories, he was very interested in extraterrestrials, right? He was very interested in the science and the technology. Some would say that he was given those technologies from aliens, which is why people like Rockefeller and all of them kind of, like, had him, like, assassinated. I don't know if he was assassinated or died in somewhere private. I don't have all the facts. Allegedly. So what this is telling me is, especially because Elon Musk has a lot of interest in space, He also has a lot of interest in Tesla. Is it possible that maybe he done been, abducted by some aliens and now he got some technology? Because according to the
Can we talk about alien abduction?
yeah, like
Okay.
it's no way that all this random new technology is just coming out. Like technology don't work like that.
Okay, so with technology though, I do feel like just in the US alone, we are behind as far as globally. I do know a lot of the Asian cultures, they are more technology forward, and their governments, like they're funding projects and research so that they can have the best like clean energy, stuff like that. Like they're researching things to make technology better and just overall just have a better way of life. Now, with the US, we do have Elon Musk, right? Who's like creating all of these innovations and stuff like that.
I mean, he's from South Africa.
Does he live in the US right now though?
I believe so.
And Tesla, I believe, is based in the US. Yeah, and SpaceX. Like these are American based companies. But if he was abducted by aliens, how would if you're abducted by aliens, do you think they would do it in a way where you would know?
I don't see why not.
I don't think so.
Why?
Because, like, I feel like, to be honest, if we're talking conspiracy theories, I do feel like they already are among us and they already are, like, in human form and we just don't know.
But the world is full of secrets.
Exactly.
So if I'm able to be rich and be prosperous and all I got to do is keep a secret, keep a secret. People keep secrets all the time.
Yes,
right?
so
If I'm cheating,
wouldn't want us to know. So you're saying though, like if he knew, he wouldn't tell anybody.
Yeah, what benefit does he receive from saying, "Hey, I know aliens"? Like, it's no benefit.
I do think billionaires though, like the Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, they are just exposed to another level of research and they're able to play and do with different things that they want to do. And if they was to interact with any type of extraterrestrial beings, who would they have to get permission from? They're billionaires.
But see, I think it's a little different, right? Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, I think they lucked into their industry. Whereas like, oh, social media was starting to become a thing. So here's Mark Zuckerberg. Packaging and delivery and next day, all that kind of stuff was becoming a thing. Here's Amazon and Jeff Bezos. But Tesla came out of nowhere with technology. Like this is like very, very different, unique technologies where you have to do product research and analysis and all this different shit.
I would say for that, I don't know the history that in depth for Tesla to speak on where they got that from, but I do feel like there's probably some knowledge from different countries like the Asian countries and like what they've been doing with their technology. Because since we're talking about a Tesla, I believe they're Chinese based. There's a Chinese based car company. They recently surpassed Tesla as like the number one or the global electric car. So I believe they've been what?
It's 1 billion people in China.
Okay.
So like just being a Chinese entity in general.
No. Because Tesla was number one up until recently, like up until the past few months. So, but this Chinese based car company, this for me it just like shows that they've been out here trying to keep up with the Teslas and any other electric energy saving kind of cars. So I do feel like this just shows how behind we are, that they're now starting to catch up, because it was a long time when the United States, like we were the innovators when it came to just different things and economical things we were doing in our country, that now other countries are starting to realize that, especially when it comes to like India, Russia, like they're starting to unite together so that their economy can be as good, if not better than the United States.
I'll give a slight disagreement, and I'll give you the Apple versus Android analogy, right? Samsung is doing all these new innovative things, and they're getting first to the market, and they're early adopters. And then Apple swoops in, puts it on a model 2-3 years later, and everybody loves it, right? The thing that Apple has the advantage over is there's no bugs with Apple. You're not going to get glitches. You're not going to get any issues because Samsung is now doing all the product testing. So by the time it comes down to the pike with Apple, you're already good to go. Your product is already fully fleshed out and established. I also think a lot of the trick to the Asian and the Eastern Europeans is they're taking full advantage over Africa. That's where all the metals are for the technology advancements anyway. So if you see someone like China, they're doing a whole bunch of like colonization attempts in Africa. Same goes for like Jamaica and different things like that. They're trying to get in places where they can create influence and they can also take over the industries. So I think America is like taking a little bit of a step back where it's like, we can't go in guns blazing and just start taking places over because now we look like we're colonizing. Whereas China don't give a fuck.
Yeah, Americans been that since the beginning of time. But I do just want to talk about that company I mentioned that's rivaling Tesla. It's called EV. So EV, they are a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Okay.
I was saying plug it in.
Oh, yeah. So
are the cars cute?
Right behind Tesla. But a lot of the other energy saving or electric cars behind Tesla are Chinese based. Like besides Tesla, there's no other American company that's actually trying to be as innovative. So this is also just another point of like the China and any other Asian countries, they've been trying to either beat or keep up, but they have the numbers. Like they definitely have the numbers.
I'll also give a little bit of a pass, and I don't mean to be this way, but like let's say a Dodge or a Honda, they're not making entire fleets of cars that are electric. They're still making gasoline powered cars. They're still making hybrid cars, right? Whereas Tesla is pretty much all electric powered. So their fleet is going to have more numbers of electric purchases because that's what they sell. EV or EB, whatever their name is. I don't know if they have gas models. Yeah, I don't know if they have gas models, but if they don't, that's also a reason why their numbers are a little inflated. I'm sure if Dodge decided to say, hey, all the Durangos, all the Vipers, all the cars that we're already accustomed to are now electric powered, people will still probably flock to them, and then it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, well, globally, most American car companies are not that popular.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that does play a part. But yeah, we can go on and on about the car market and all of that. But as far as the Neuralink, though, honestly, for me, I am just anticipating to see the next steps. Because right now it's healthcare, and they're now trying to portray it as this is solely for people who have impairments. But what is it going to look like when now it's for profit? Now it's capitalism. Because, that's usually where companies go.
Neuralink is going to turn into Ozempic. Next thing you know, people just going to be abusing it, losing weight, and not losing diabetes.
Scary. It's going to be very scary.
Reminded me a little bit of when we had our episode with Dr. Jazz, and we talked about animal testing, if it's cruel and whatnot. Do you think that we should people test with Neuralink?
I think they've been doing it. Like, I definitely think they've been already doing the testing behind the scenes, and they probably had a study group of people that they went through the side effects. As far as the variations of people, if it was solely just people who had some type of brain damage or some nerve damage that they wanted to fix, or they did some people who were completely healthy and they just wanted to see how it will affect the body and if it'll make your vision, strength, your pain levels even stronger if you are already healthy. So I do think they're going to start to sell it and market it in a way where they're trying to show you that you can be like a better version of a human.
That's crazy.
Scary times.
Speaking of scary times all over the world, honestly. Ukraine, Russia, Middle East, China, Texas. Everywhere is having like conflict. Do you really believe we're on the cusp of another world war?
I do. And the reason being is because there's a lot of things happening overseas in the Middle East that I don't necessarily watch the news, so I don't know if they're talking about the details, considering it is a presidential election year. But there was this Instagram page I recently came across. Just a little tip to follow. So this Instagram page, it is a news outlet, and they give world news. So it's called Real News No Bullshit on Instagram. They have about 1 million followers. And their whole mission is to just give out unbiased news without an agenda. And there's no type of like they're getting funded by corporations. They're just giving out information. So on this page, they were giving out information on different things that's happening around the world and different wars and specifically stuff going on in the Middle East. So the concern for me is it kind of feels like preparation, like preparation for things are going to happen fast in 2025. And I recently spoke to one of my friends, shout out to Sin. We were supposed to have her on the podcast like 2 years ago. Yeah. So she lives in the UK. Now her whole agenda is to leave the UK because she wants to come to the US. Now, she recently told me about 2 weeks ago, they're starting to do the draft and they're starting to do it for her age group. So I'm assuming it's between like 18 and what is it? Like 35? Yeah. So she's a little nervous about that because she's like, I don't want to go to war. And this is stuff that I didn't even know until I'm having this conversation with someone who lives there. So I do feel like different countries are preparing in different ways, very subtly and not really saying anything until it's time to say something. Speaking of, I know the 3 soldiers who recently passed away out in the Middle East, and they were killed by drones. So now supposedly we're going to retaliate, and what does that look like? So I recently read an article saying that, I believe it was Biden, like he already gave out a retaliation plan of what was going to happen. So things are happening now. So it just makes me wonder, are we in it right now or is it happening in the future? But ultimately, I feel like we're in it.
I think it's actually something else that's going on that's a little bit more telling to me than a global war. I think people are picking sides, right? Because it's not just the Israel and Palestine. It's not just Ukraine and Russia. It's ideologies also at play, right? It's like, whose side do I want to be on? Because I don't want to just fight for somebody because I pledge allegiance to their flag. It's like, do I believe in what they're fighting for? And I think that's where we're trying to get to. And I don't think any of these powers that be have actual reasons for us to be fighting as individuals. And I think that's where we're going to struggle with, because I don't want to die just because.
Speaking of picking sides and the war and the draft, I recently had a conversation with someone who is like heavy into the news and they follow up with current events. And apparently they're recruiting for people wanting to go to either the military or Navy or the Army. Like those numbers are low. And I was thinking about why the numbers are low. I didn't go into detail as to like do actual research, but we could talk about it now. So, I do think sometimes people, especially in our age group, like it's a different time, number one. Like I do feel like it's a different time, and like just the thought of war, and if you've had grandparents who went to war, you'd be more prone to want to do it because it is more of a legacy. But in today's society in 2024, it's just like a lot of the government for millennials, we kind of see it as we don't trust them, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two is somewhat of a joke because like people are making memes and making fun of Joe Biden and Trump, and just like they don't necessarily respect them. Mm-hmm. So what is the incentive then to want to go to war for your country if you don't necessarily respect it, even though, you know, your family's here and all those great things, but for you to go fight and die overseas, like, why would you want to put yourself at risk for that?
So I got two reasons. First and foremost, if you look at like gang culture in America, people are clearly willing to fight for something, right? If you have just a general umbrella of what we all agree with, we're willing to fight, even if it's not our fight, right? Somebody stepped on my brother's sneakers. Go ahead.
With the gang comment, though, the whole purpose is respect, right? And it's because it is a brotherhood and you're getting these values that may not make sense, but there's still values there. So I'm wondering, like, since I feel like there's really no like American values for real.
I'm going to bring it all together. I got you.
Go ahead. Okay, sorry.
So somebody step on my brother's sneakers. They get into a fight. Dude gets shot. Now I retaliate. He gets shot. Now he retaliates. Somebody else gets shot. That's just a reoccurring pattern of, you know, this is what we stand for, right? Red versus blue. Just to give an example. America is losing that, right? The last time America really had that sense of unity, that unified front where we're willing to fight for somebody, was 9/11. And the reason that we had that is because, wait a minute. It's one thing if you attack the president. It's one thing if you attack a specific person. But you attacked all of us, right? Anybody could have been in the World Trade Center. Anybody could have been in Pearl Harbor. Anybody could have been on the Lusitania. Like, these are reasons that we mobilized, right? Because this could have been us. Now, the conspiracy theorist in me would say, hey, if America wants people to go to war, why don't we stage something? Why don't we get an attack? You don't necessarily have to kill anybody, but blow something up, right? Make somebody feel like we're under alert. The threat levels are high. I remember when we were like teenagers and in middle school, they would always give us the airplane threat levels. Oh, it's on red alert, orange alert. Do you remember that? Like on the news? Mm-mm. So like right after 9/11, they would always give like airport alerts. And it's like,
I was too young to know, but okay.
But those type of things would make you like, yo, I don't trust them. I want to fight. If I see a Russian, an Indian, an Arab or whatever, I don't trust them. I want, right? Mm-hmm. It creates that xenophobia.
And we had that for COVID. We already had that for COVID, where like people were beating up old Asian people because the president at the time kept saying it was a Chinese virus. Mm-hmm. So that's where that animosity stemmed from. But I'm saying globally, and also to sign basically your rights away to the U.S. government after everything that it's been doing has been put on blast and like put under a microscope. It's like, why would I want to risk myself for that? Like, number one, we got the student loans that every other week you're saying they're forgiving student loan debt for who? I don't know, because no one that I know personally in different fields is getting anything forgiven. Yeah. And then on top of student loan debt, it's like now it's the taxes, it's the rents and the mortgages. Everything is super sky high that we could barely afford groceries. So like, we're not given reasons or incentives to really want to unify, to go to war the way things were back then for like the World War I's and the twos.
Do you know why a lot of people vote for Trump?
Why?
Because he's a salesman. He's a puppeteer, right? I'm not going to give Hitler like praise when I say this. Is not what I mean. But everything that we've ever been taught about Hitler was he was a master at propaganda. He was able to rally his troops. The Third Reich was a thing because people believed that everything that this man said was justified. Trump has that, whether we like to admit it or not. These people are going crazy, going to these rallies and doing all this dumb shit based on the words of a man. That's how you rally people to go fight for you. Barack Obama, whether people don't like him or not, he was able to sell people on a dream of hope, whereas he can probably get a whole bunch of people to go out there and fight for this country. I don't think George Bush could have did that, especially the way he did it, which is why we struggled with that. George Bush wasn't a good salesperson. Dick Cheney made us feel like they had weapons of mass destruction. It was all fucked up, right? If Trump is voted in office, I think he'll be able to sell at least those rednecks. Have them go over to Ukraine or somewhere, or Middle East somewhere, Libya, I don't fucking know. And
because the war is coming, as far as like it being at your doorstep. Thank God it's not there, and I hope it doesn't come here. But nonetheless, there are things happening, and I just think more people need to be aware. And that's what we're here for, is to just inform and just let you guys know, like, this is the shit that's going on. So definitely follow that news page on Instagram, just like you follow all those other media outlets. And this is like actual news. So.
Right. And then, like, if you are on the Shade Room or Media Takeout, the stuff they talk about is things like Draya. So, why you do that?
I didn't even want to talk about this, to be honest.
Oh.
But one of my friends, sorry, I don't smoke cigarettes. But no, one of my friends, they wanted me to bring this up because number one, I'm a woman. Number two, I have a podcast and we have a platform. So let's just talk about shit going on. Okay?
No, you don't want to talk about it. So that means that you have a heavy opinion about it, because I know you.
I definitely have an opinion.
So give it to us straight.
First and foremost, I'm going to tell you the situation. So Draya, who she's maybe 39 or 40. She's around the 40 mark. But yeah, she's known for being on Basketball Wives.
Oh, yeah, that one.
And yep, I used to watch that season when she was on. I haven't watched Basketball Wives in years, but I believe it's still on. But anyway, she has a 21-year-old son, and she is dating Jalen Green. And he, how old is he? Do you know?
21.
He's 21. Okay, yeah.
They're both 21.
So the issue is, allegedly, she's pregnant by this 21-year-old superstar basketball player. Now, apparently they talked about it on the Joe Budden podcast. And did you see the clip of when he was talking? I saw the clip. Okay, yeah. So he has Melissa Ford on there. And he recently brought her on just to get her woman's opinion on different women controversial topics. So she was like Melissa Ford was beating around the bush to really say her true feelings and if it was inappropriate. And he didn't like that. He was like, yo, listen, like, it's fucked up and it's fucking weird. And if it was the opposite, like, people would have their opinions. Like, if it was an actual guy who was like 40 something and his girlfriend was 21, like, that's always the conversation. So now that it's a woman doing it, what's your thoughts? So my specific thoughts is, either way, the shit is weird, like, man or a woman. I do feel like specifically for women, we already say that men don't mature until they're probably like 30, 35, if that. And most women, not all, but most do date older because they do feel like, you know, they're getting different things that they're learning from the male. They're feeling more protected, more safe, more financial stability, all those things. But in this specific case, I'm sure she has money, like Draya has her own money. And this superstar, Jalen Green, like, he clearly has money as well. But is it predatory? Now, that's the thing that is the question, because for me, like, from his point of view, like, being a 21-year-old, and I'm sure that he probably saw Draya, knew of her because she is a social media girl as well. Like, she is an influencer. She's one of those women who posts pictures like half naked. She has a nice body, and she also has her swimwear line Mint. So What are your thoughts on this? Because for me, I think it's fucking weird. And yes, we can say love is love, but ultimately, what is a 21-year-old man having conversations about with a 40-year-old woman, like besides sexual attraction?
Well, let's start there. What's wrong with being attracted to somebody that's of age sexually? Nothing. Right? Can we agree?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you talk. Go ahead.
Give me like 2 minutes to cook real quick. Stella got a groove back, right? A lot of people love this movie. Angela Bassett probably should have won an Oscar for this movie, right? In that movie, Stella was 40 years old. And Tay Diggs' character, Winston, was 20 years old. This is a world-renowned movie where everyone was just like, this is a wonderful ensemble cast, an older woman getting back to her roots and just establishing the fact that, you know, she can enjoy her life with a younger man. This is a movie that we all rave about. But now when it's in real life, now all of a sudden we want to, oh, you can't do that. You got a 21-year-old son. You shouldn't date a 21-year-old guy. Like,
I don't even think it's a dating piece. I think the main issue is the fact that she is pregnant.
That's what happens when you date.
That's what happens when you have an unprotected sex.
Okay. They're
both grown, but nonetheless, I still think it's weird.
Question. And I don't mean to make this personal, but I just want to do it for the sake of this conversation.
We can make it personal.
It's okay. When you were working, I think it was one of your jobs, you said it was an older gentleman that used to come into your office space. Yeah. How old was he?
He was probably in his 50s.
How old were you?
I was about 23 or 24.
Realistically speaking, if it worked for you and y'all dated, would it have been a problem?
Well, define if it worked for me. So first and foremost, with me specifically, I've never been one of those girls who truly wanted a sugar daddy or like to.
No, I'm talking about from an actual relationship.
That's what an older man does for younger women.
Or he can be the love of your life.
For the most part, because I've spoken to friends in that age group and like why, you know, they do look for the older man specifically for sugar daddies. And they have that sugarbabies.com site for that, which this man, like, he may not even want sex from you, but he truly wants to spend time with you because you do have that young spirit, right? But they're still giving you money or some type of financial thing to help you build up your life and either pay bills, pay off your student loan debt, or whatever the case. So you're going to take it because it looks like they look good. Because also with the sugar daddy, like, you don't want a sugar daddy that looks fucking crazy. So if they look good and in shape, which Draya, she does look good for her age, it's like, what's the problem? But
I don't believe he's dating for her to be a sugar mama. I don't think
that's the case. I'm just saying from our conversation, you asked me about that man at my job. But essentially at that age, like, I don't want, if I was 24, I'm still not going after a man who is my father's age at the time to date. Like, for me, that's just not attractive at all. Like, even though he was cute and he was fine, but nonetheless, you was still in mid-50s.
So as a 21-year-old, you're now eligible to enter clubs, correct? What's the age limit at a club?
I think it's an undefined.
It's not undefined. There is no limit.
It is, because if you
can be 97 in the club.
You can, but if I'm going to the club and like my dad's friends age group is there, like late freaking 50s and 60s, I'm leaving.
You may leave.
I'm leaving.
Everyone's not leaving. Some people are going to enjoy themselves, and if this gentleman or this gentle lady decides that she wants to entertain somebody, it's legal. There's nothing wrong with it.
It's legal. Like, I'm not saying it's not legal. Like, it's more so the conversation and the controversy was that he was so young and she's pregnant by him, and he's the same age as her son.
Coincidence.
I'm just letting you know, like, that's just what the issue was, and that's what people were talking about.
Yeah, I just think it's unnecessary to even have that frustration with somebody whose lives not ours, not us, because we're not frustrated about it. You didn't want to talk about it. I didn't really care to talk about it either. But I think people get so involved in other people's situations. Like, let these people be. Go ahead. You was about to say something.
I was going to say, like, with celebrities, because we do live in a celebrity culture, and especially the ones who put all of their private lives online. So, like, the Chloe Baileys, the DGG, what the fuck is
That's Halle Bailey.
Halle Bailey, DDG, her boyfriend, and even her thing where she was hiding her pregnancy, and then now she's popping out and putting all her maternity stuff out, which is great. But if you are being so open to sharing your life, and then there's a certain piece that, like, you don't want people to talk about, people are gonna have that opinion because you already opened the door for that. You can still probably say, like, oh no, like, don't talk about my my situation, or you guys don't know. But you already put everything out there, so people are still gonna continue to have an opinion.
I don't know if they put everything out there versus people put everything out there anyway. So
them specifically have a YouTube channel, a couple's YouTube channel, and they do post weekly and put out their day-to-day. As far as Draya goes, especially being an influencer, you do have to constantly post. So you are putting out different aspects of your life.
Yeah. Well, I wish them the best with their new bundle of joy, you know?
Yes. Because bundles of joy are blessings.
Yes, they are. So I've been trying to get Dana to talk about this show for like the last couple weeks.
Oh shit! Oh, spill my tea.
she got something to say. I started watching The Trust on Netflix, and when I first started watching, I thought this is such an interesting concept. And I'm like, yo, like, all these different dynamics is getting super duper interesting. And, you know, I know Dana loves reality TV in terms of, like, not like drama, but more so like game shows and stuff like that.
Good. Yeah.
Right? Like Squid Games and stuff like that. So I'm like, yo, Dana, watch the show. She was like, nah, I ain't gonna watch it. And then she ended up watching it. So now I gotta see her perspective, because I don't know her perspective.
You know why, though? So when The Trust first dropped, I was 5 minutes in. I turned it off. The reason why I turned it off is because when they first are standing outside of the house on the cliff on the side of the island, you see the variations of people. Like, you have the old woman, she's on there. I actually have the cast up because I wanted to be specific for y'all. Okay, so yeah, there's Jay. So she was 70 years old, the white retired old lady. And then you had it was just like different flavors of people, right? And once, I don't know who the host was, but once they read Brooke, okay. Once they read what this show was going to be about, how there is a trust of about, I think it was $100,000 to start it. And the premise of the show was they can all share it, so they can all go to the end together. No one has to be eliminated. And then they all win, or you vote people off. For me, I didn't like the concept because I knew damn well everyone wasn't making it to the end. Just looking at the variations of people, like, I automatically knew. And then it kind of felt fake to me in the beginning, where everyone was being so friendly and sweet and nice. And I'm like, this is not how this shit is gonna end. So then I stopped watching it, and then you told me about it again. So what were your thoughts on it before I give my thoughts?
My thoughts were, first and foremost, it reminded me a lot of The Circle, right? Now we're all trying to, you know, put on our best face, but deep down, I don't trust anybody. Like, I don't want to trust you. And if I do want to trust you, you're going to be in my little alliance, my little tight circle. But the craziest part is, all you got to do is just not vote for nobody, and you're fine. So I thought the premise of the show was like really intriguing. And then I thought when they went into the vault, that's where things could get a little tricky, because now that's where the distrust is really stemming from. Like, when it came to the first dude, if spoiler alert, his whole issue, because he got kicked off the first episode, was he put somebody into not voting. And it was like, oh, I never trusted him to begin with because he looked like a fuck boy, and I could tell he was lying to us. Bright girls.
Oh, that was the cop guy, right?
Yeah. So it's like when you get to these positions of power where it's like, oh, I'm trying to do the right thing for everybody. Everybody don't always see that because somebody's usually affected. And in all honesty, the trust was a microcosm of life for me. Just seeing a dynamic, seeing how people talk and engage with one another, and how easy it is for somebody to be sensitive and insensitive at the same time. So it was one situation in particular that like stood out to me, and it was the older woman, Jay. It was a guy on there who was a millionaire. He got kicked off the show, and if you watch the show, you would probably assume he's gay, right?
Bryce. Yep.
Bryce is his name, but on the show, he explained, I'm not gay. I'm just femme passing as a heterosexual man. Like, I'm straight as an arrow, but I just have women tendencies. So one of the guys, after he got kicked off, was like, yeah, I like Bryce, but he was a different kind of cat. So when he said that, it automatically put like a trigger in his woman's head, like, oh, what are you trying to say about him? Because he's gay? And it's like, first off, this is not a reason to cause dissension and distrust, but that's how easy it is, especially on the internet, for motherfuckers to go crazy. And it's like, yo, you said this about me, but I didn't say it. So it just showed how crazy insensitivity and sensitivity can fracture trust. And it can lead everybody down a path where I don't trust you. I want to take away money from you. I prefer my life over yours. And that's what the trust was all about for me.
Yeah, I would say what?
Nothing.
So my favorite but my favorite person on there was Tolu.
Of course.
So she was the black woman with the low cut, and she wore like the African continent earrings. Like everything was very tribal with her, because I do feel like she was very genuine in who she was and like her ultimate goal in the show. Ultimately, yes, it was a game. But for the most part, even in life, since you referenced that, you do have to move sometimes in strategy, especially in this specific game where like there is money involved. Like when money is involved, people do change because this can be life changing for them. Or in her case, she mentioned how her family came here from a different country and they worked their ass off for her. So she wanted to give back to them, and this was her way to do it. So I do feel like she was being true to herself as far as not being shady. And her and the other woman, Winnie, and it's not because they're black, like, but that adds to it. But I do feel like they were more upfront with how they were feeling about different cast members. If they had an issue or they didn't like how someone was moving, they would voice their opinion to the group, because I do feel like the group needs to know what's going on and the secrets and the conversations that's having behind their back when they think one person is smiling in their face and then voting them off. So
that's crazy ass Lindsay.
Which one was Lindsay?
The white woman that used to rock.
Oh my God. I hated her. I'm so glad she got voted off. But someone who I didn't like either was, I think her name was Julie.
The other white girl. Yes.
Yeah, she was the one that was trying to get another guy.
I'm poor from Montana and I've never seen $5 and you're gonna shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, Julie was scheming. Okay, like her and Lindsay, they were literally going back and forth in between groups, saying one thing, doing another, saying, oh, no, I didn't vote for you, but then damn well was voting for other people to get off. So in their case, I do think it was very disingenuous, and like it just goes back to like there are some people who do have malicious intentions but will not show that in your face. So that's why I didn't like her. If you like this show, Aaron, there's a show that I just finished watching today. It's on Netflix. I don't know if you watched it. It's called Surviving Paradise.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Okay, so you didn't see it? Okay, so this show was, I literally had to binge watch it. So this one was just about this big ass house.
You just told me I was going to watch it.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah. I'm not gonna say it. But it's so good. Like it's so freaking good.
I'll finish it before next week's episode.
Okay.
I'll probably
Yeah.
watch it all day tomorrow at work.
Okay,
But
cool.
before we get off of the trust, I do a lot of internet like searching, especially on Twitter after I watch something I really like, whether it's Survivor, The Challenge, The Trust, etc. Right? And nobody seemed to like Winnie and Tolu. Now,
Really?
a lot of the conversations surrounded around, oh, it's just victims, and I'm black this and I'm black that, I'm woman this, I'm woman that. But if you actually listen,
I didn't get that from them.
a little bit, but at the same time, I think they were so genuine but brash. When you're black and you're brash, especially on a reality TV show, people are not going to like you, especially the masses on the internet. The problem I had with the people on the internet, though, was they didn't have that same energy for Lindsay and Julie. And I felt like Lindsay and Julie were way more conniving than anybody on the show. And at the same time, the military dude, not the one with the jeans, the nice guy, but the other dude, he just was an idiot. And it's like people need to recognize that when people are dumb like that and they're putting their foot in their mouths, it's a reason that people don't trust them. He's literally like trying to throw people into positions where it's like, yo, you're disrespecting me. And he's just so unself-aware. Like, my God, figure it out. But
Yeah, that's crazy you said that because I didn't get that at all from Tolu and Winnie. Like, I instantly liked how they carried themselves. There's um one specific part that comes to mind with Tolu is when she found out that the three guys blew out Winnie's candle. Remember that part? And Tolu literally went to confront them, sat down and was like, what's the problem? Like, why did you guys do that? And like, they don't have a legitimate reason. Like, come talk to her. Like, very calm and copacetic, like not yelling or nothing. And then come to find out it was actually Lindsay's trifling ass doing it. Yeah, she was one of them. But I think she was just very direct. And she was well spoken, and she was looking at them in their eyes as she was saying, like, trying to express herself and say, like, listen, I know you're doing this, but be that person in front of me, not behind my back where my eyes are closed. So I do believe that can come off to people who are not that direct as like too strong. And it can come off as like a negative, like, oh, who the fuck does she think she is talking to the group like that? But that wasn't what I got at all from her. It was just her standing up for her friend, but in the most humblest way and being direct about it.
And I think that was also something that she made an emphasis on in the show. Like, she even told Winnie, relax. If you're going to talk to them, you need to learn how to talk.
Winnie was the one that was going to curse somebody out.
And she did at one point in time. She did. But at the same time, it was a little bit more warranted and everybody understood where she was coming from. But it was a life lesson there. And we talked about this on the podcast before about how you have to know how to communicate with people. You just can't be yelling and talking down to people any which way, because that's what ended up making Lindsay go home. Because Lindsay was in a good position, and then she didn't recognize that she was talking to people the way she shouldn't have talked to them.
That was so random with her.
It wasn't, though, because they blew up her game in her mind, right? So her frustration was justified, but you don't take it out on the people that got your back. Pull them aside and say, hey, Gaspar, hey, military man, I can't remember that dude's name for sure. I didn't appreciate y'all exposing my game as I'm trying to do my best to help y'all out.
His name was
the situation where Winnie and Tolu were in the bathroom and Lindsay wanted to come in the bathroom and they were like, no, you can't come in the bathroom. It was a private situation. Nobody else was part of that. So yeah, it was rude, but it was rude in privacy. Then Tolu went downstairs after Winnie got eliminated. She's by herself. She goes to come downstairs and just have a conversation with the whole group. And Lindsay decides to be an asshole in front of everybody. You see, it's a difference in the way that you move. It's a difference in the way that you communicate. It showed me that Tolu had a little bit more awareness, and Lindsay just was a bitch.
So on Twitter, did they say anything about Lindsay and like the way she was moving or not?
A little bit more towards the second half when the second half came out. But for the most part, it was mostly Tolu and Winnie for the first couple episodes. I think it was like first 4 or 5 episodes. They were just on their ass. And it was mostly because they're black.
Of course. I would love to have Tolu on the podcast.
I'll see if I can reach out to her.
Can you work on that? Because you good with getting guests and talking to people.
She trying to see what's up. You
Yeah.
know, she got a couple thousand. You feel me?
She reads her DMs.
Let me look that up.
But this was a great episode. This was episode 69, I believe.
Oh, one of my favorites.
I bet it is. Let me make sure, because we be lying about our numbers. I think it's 69. Oh, no, it's 68. 68 and then 69. But yeah, we are going to end this here, but we definitely want to do our happy hour moment, guys, because that's just who we are and what we do. What's your happy hour moment?
My happy hour moment is just continue Black excellence. Obviously, it's Black History Month. And what I've been trying to do on Instagram is I've been trying to post just random Black history facts, not particular to anything post transatlantic trade. I don't use the term slave or call my people slaves. So I've just been throwing out some like facts. I did something about Ethiopia, something about the Asante Empire, just different things. And I just want people to be more aware of Black history, not Black American history. Not that that's a problem either, because obviously perseverance is beautiful. You know, our resiliency is beautiful. So I'll never take anything away from like the Black American experience. But I believe that we have like a wealth of history, a wealth of knowledge. And I think we need to get on top of that. And we don't need to wait on nobody else, like Dana said a couple episodes ago, to teach us our history. So I'm out here, I'm researching, I'm looking things up, I'm watching videos. And a lot of the ancient alien stuff with all we talked about today is actually bringing us into these different tribes and different things of like the ancient times. And it's just making me curious. And I think curiosity is a great gateway to more understanding. So shout out to Black history, shout out to Black excellence, shout out to Dr. Umar, our Prince of Pan-Africanism.
We still waiting for him.
Yes.
Nancy, your DM.
Yeah. But I'm about to hit up Tolu right now because I got her thing right
Yes, hit up Tolu. And while you do that, I'm going to say my happy hour moment. So speaking of Black History Month, for me, I do see every single day of the year, 365, as Black history. And I am proud to be a Black woman. And what I've been doing for this month is my organization is having a couple events. One specifically that I am hosting is next week, the 15th. It is for the Economic Empowerment Committee that I'm on. Okay. And this event is going to talk about estate planning. So we are going to have 2 attorneys talking about wills, probates, life insurance, and different ways to pass down generational wealth for our community, because that is something that needs to be more talked about and that conversation to continue to grow. So that's the purpose of this event. I may link it in my Instagram story at some point during the week, next week, but I'm excited about that. So this is my first event that I will be hosting for this organization alongside my co-member, my sister, and I'm excited for it. And then also,
send me that info too.
Are you going to join as virtual?
Yeah, I'll join. If it's virtual, definitely.
Okay.
I thought it was physical. I was going to go, or I'll try to go. Unless Jalen has a game.
There's a few in-person ones. I'll share it with you. And then if you want to just share it with your circle, I'd really appreciate that. And then, like I said in the beginning, I do have an addition to the family that's coming tomorrow. My baby that I gave birth to and picking it up from the store.
No, I'm used to women hiding their pregnancies. So.
If I was pregnant, it would be a child of God. Because
hope she don't watch these podcasts.
Sis don't be having any type of intimacy.
You don't have no intimacy in your life?
Not at all.
It's okay. I'm gonna sign you up for sure.
I don't want to be signed up for nothing, okay? I am just out here living, breathing, loving life, and whatever happens, happens.
Yes, and if you would like to join us on this podcast, especially virtual or in reality, you see how I did that.
Hey.
You can make sure you hit up woawpod@gmail.com so that way
Mm-hmm.
you can join myself and Dana in this illustrious seat so we can have a great conversation, that off the clock conversation, man, all of you guys love to have. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, and be a coworker.
Yes, join our community. And we appreciate every one of you listening and tuning in, leaving comments, because we do see the comments and we do see the shares. So, on that note, we outside and we out.
Boom, 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 boom.